Turns out Samsung and I, we're clearly not friends anymore. Welcome to Elder Son's room. This specific denial of friendship from Samsung, it doesn't tie in to the SSD failure I had a couple of days ago. However, it did also possibly start happening a couple of days ago. Involves that. That is a 32-inch Samsung whatever model TV that is. I haven't there's no socket around to actually plug it in and show the issue, but usually lives up there. It's one of my old TVs. I used to use it as a computer monitor. I got it somewhere in the regions of like a decade ago. But apparently I wasn't told until the other day. It's not actually a bad TV. Look, quality on it. It was a 1080p 32-inch screen. It was quite cheap when we got it, but you know, it's worked hard, lived a good life. It's gone through 2 repairs already for backlight failing, but a couple of days ago, funny enough, when my SSD was going dodge, this started to go funk. So, the story of that TV, it must have been a good near decade ago. The wife and I, kids, were all living in this bungalow not too far away from here, and I guess at some point in the middle of the night, I remember actually when it happened, because I was doing this kind of thing back then too. I'd rolled over in my sleep, picked up my phone, and I bought it off of eBuyer, I think, eBuyer.com, because I think it might have been, either it was on sale or I don't know, but I remember saying to the wife, if something comes through the post in a couple of days, I'm really sorry. And she said, what do you mean? I go, I think I bought a TV last night. She's like, what? I think I bought a TV. And she's like, oh, for God's sake. And lo and behold, in a couple of days, a TV turns up. But it used to live on a desk in our living room. My office, I don't know, have always been in, I guess, in our living rooms, in our dining rooms of our homes, with the exception of one place where I had a room, I suppose. But it used to live on my desk in the lounge diner of the bungalow, and for years I had it like either connected up to my main PC, which was Alcatraz at the time. This is going all the way back to like AMD Phenom 2s when the 7970 was king, and that was like my main monitor, 1080p, 32 inches, smack bang in front of my face. Colours were pretty nice on it for the time. It had component in, HDMI in. It was a telly. Right, because I was using it for absolutely everything. We were using it for watching films. I was using it for gaming. I was using it for editing and all that. It was a nice screen. And then, the backlight failed on it, and we got the LEDs replaced. And then the backlight failed on it again, and we got the LEDs replaced. And then, I guess it must have been yesterday or the day before, my eldest said to me that the telly was going funny, and I was like, what do you mean, man? Like, he has had his laptop up in his bedroom for the last couple days, and we just hooked, because this is a weird thing, right? His Nintendo Switch has failed up here. the dock. The Switch seems to be a problem with the USB-C port that connects it to the dock. His Roku has failed up here, but that seems to be a common fault too. And now the TV has failed again, which again that one doesn't surprise me because it's old. But he's had all this stuff fail, and he's just been doing everything on his iPad, right? Before the TV failed and the Switch failed, he's now been like kind of doing everything on his iPad. And I was like, well, you know what? Because he was sick a couple of weeks back. I'll bring his laptop upstairs and he can just lay in bed and play games on his laptop. Like, he's basically using it as a console. My boys have really gotten heavy into PC gaming, but in connecting it up to the TV, he has absolutely loved it. Just being able to lay in bed or sit on his bed and hook up like an Xbox pad or whatever and just be able to play his games and stuff in bed. You know, he's able to play like Street Fighter and King of Fighters and Tekken and Sonic and all these. You know, my boys are they're building a pretty solid Steam library. I mean, just the other day, the screen started like turning on and off. So it would go through the boot sequence. So, you know, turn it on, comes up with the Samsung logo, and then normally where it would kind of come up with like HDMI whatever, and then tell you what resolution, and then flick to the picture, it would just turn off. Right? Oh, that's weird. Just never done that before. Then, you know, check the connections, unplugged it, left it for a bit, plugged it back in. It's like, no. If I restart the laptop, it says if I turn the TV on whilst the laptop's connected to it, but the TV goes on first, it just does this. I was like, all right. So, but if I turn off the laptop whilst the TV's on and then turn it back on, it's fine. The TV's fine. Okay, that's interesting. And you know, he was right. It did work. However, today now it loops continuously, no matter what you do to it. I don't know what's wrong with it, but frankly, given its age, I don't know if it's worth repairing. I mean, we're going to try and repair it. I'm not going to throw it away. I don't like wasting things. We can at least use the backlight on it. Because I don't know if it's worth taking down to the local electronics shop, because I don't have anything here really hardcore to wire it up to. I could just kind of get, you know, the old multimeter out and probe around and grab my soldering iron and see where we go with that. But I don't know. That's some pretty tiny shit to solder, and I can't do surface mount stuff. I just can't. My hands aren't steady enough to do small jobs on boards. So I'm gonna have to just pop it in storage, and when the chance comes, I'll take it down to our local electronics shop, and depending on if they can quote me happy or not, we'll see if we can get it repaired. It's just boot looping, just over and over and over again. It doesn't even look like it's checking HDMI. The screen kind of flickers once or twice and then turns off. I wouldn't even like to hazard a guess as to what's wrong with it, but it's stone dead at this point. Like, there's nothing we can seem to do to get it to turn on and stay on. If the electronics shop that I like to go to can't do anything with it, and they're the ones that have done the repairs on it the last couple of times, if they can't do anything with it, then I might just strip the thing down and take the screen out of it, and then just use all the gut in it that controls the lights, the LEDs, and like the diffusion and all that, and just get that and just turn it into a light box, rather than just wasting the whole thing. Just turn it into something, do something with it. Nearly 10 years. That's all right. You know, I'd rather repair than throw something away, but it's just unfortunate now, because bless my big man, he's got nothing lit. Well, there's a light now on the side, but he's got nothing. No TV, can't play a Switch because the Switch is knackered, and Nintendo still haven't sent us back a label to return it for repairs. Even though they've already had it and they didn't do anything with it. We don't have any luck with technology. We just don't. I mean, the PlayStation 4 here is bust, that needs to be reballed. The Xbox is okay, but no one ever uses it. They love their laptops, but they need more storage in them, so that's something that I've got to sort out. Just absolutely no joy. the boys used to have like little 22-inch monitors. I used to have two 22-inch Samsung monitors that I really like back from the Series 6 days of Samsung TVs. And they used to have those, but eventually I didn't have space for my big stuff and they needed screens. So I gave my youngest my 4K crossover monitor, and my eldest got the Samsung, but I don't know what to replace it with, if I have to replace it. So that's it. I don't think it's going to be all that vital. Like, if the guys at the store can quite me happy, if they only charge me like 50 quid for it, I don't mind that. I know the TV was only worth about £300, £400 a decade ago, but if they can charge me sub 100 or 50 or less, then I'd happily pay for the repair. I don't know if that's likely, but I don't want it to go to waste. It's an alright little TV. But Samsung just doesn't like me. They're spiting me right now. I don't know what I'd replace the TV with. We wanted to buy the boys some new TVs, like both of them. As I say, my youngest has got my old crossover, eldest had the Samsung. But things aren't really built to last like nearly a decade anymore. But I would kind of like to say, bam, this is what we want to do. We want to buy this box and hopefully it'll last them for the next however long, you know? I mean, we've got a Panasonic that, I'm going to say this now, I'm going to jinx it. Touch wood, right? We've had since before the kids were born, and they're still running fine. We've got a Panasonic here, it's running pretty solidly, yeah? I was thinking of maybe getting the same kind of groove, but smaller, for the kids. They had new TVs each, but I don't know. A bunch of my mates really like Sonys, but they have trouble. Like, nothing seems to be built to last anymore. Like, my mate's gone through 2 or 3 different Sonys over the last couple of years. I would rather go with the manufacturer of like the panel or the chips inside than like some other random company. Like LG makes panels, Sony makes panels, I think. Panasonic makes controller chips. I don't know. But going with like some rando company that's sourcing panels and things from other companies and then just slapping it all together, I'd rather not. No real reason, just I don't know. QA, I'd hope that like if a panel was made by LG and it was in an LG TV, they'd have actually done the QA on it to make sure that it was pretty good, or the quality control on it to make sure that it was one of the better ones because it was going in one of their displays. But so here's the thing though, I want to wind this down because nothing particularly exciting today, but I really wish more things were user repairable. Like, I'm not scared to gut something and do repairs on it, but so much stuff these days is built in just such a way that it's not profitable to repair it. It's just easier to like throw it in a bin, or Apple, as an example. If you bust the glass on your iPad, the glass, not the screen, the glass. I have heard and I have seen that there are like places out there you could buy like a £300-400 iPad, smash the screen, or the glass in front of the screen, not the panel, the glass over the top of it, and they could charge you upwards of $200 to replace a layer of glass. Not the screen, not the battery, not the tiny little circuit board, the glass. The TV upstairs that's broken. That could be a fuse, a bad cap. You could replace like an LED strip in it if the backlight fails or whatever. Like, none of these parts are hugely expensive. Even if you had to replace the controller board for the damn screen, that's not a hugely expensive part. But these products they're being sold at a huge markup, right? Like, it doesn't cost Apple £1,000 to make a damned iPhone. but they'll sell you an iPhone for £1,000. They're making huge profits, which is why they have no problem. Like, if you take an iPad and just go duh, over your knee, hand it to them, I have enough for iPad. Because they've made like 3 times the cash on the thing you've just snapped over your leg. But sometimes this stuff is just like a nightmare to, as I say, sometimes it's not profitable for them to repair. Like, it could take them time. Are they going to have to, because everything's like hot snot these days, everything's glued together, am I going to have to get a heat gun out and, like, you know, pry away the glass and the screen and, you know, hot snot this? And if companies made this stuff more user repairable, I mean, honestly, I don't care if a product's got a bit more, like, chunk to it, but, like, if you made it so that I could buy parts, you know, or like, because as I said, I don't mind gutting a product. It depends what it is. Like, if it's a camera lens, I'm a bit with it, or certain other bits and bobs, I'm a bit with it. But it depends on the value of it, really. But I don't mind busting out the soldering iron. You know, busting out the rework station or whatever, or the you know, the heat gun and the soldering iron and the multimeter and checking stuff. I don't mind doing that, but average Joe below my level, which isn't very high, they're not going to do that, right? If companies made products with repairability in mind, knowing full well that they sell these things at such a massive fucking markup, like, you're going to get a lot more brand loyalty. You're probably going to get more people come in if they know that they're not going to buy a product, smash the glass on it, and have to put it in the fucking bin. Or, I don't know, the battery inflates and cracks the screen, or I don't know, because you see it. A fuse could go, or a cap could go, and people just take entire TVs and just throw them out. Or a lad back in the day, I don't remember who it was, dumpster diving, found like a fucking Alienware laptop. This was a good few years ago, right? Fishes it out of the dumpster, and all that was wrong with it was the hard drive had failed. If companies made their phones so that you could just easily, you know, pop the back, replace the battery, pop the back, pop a cable, replace the camera module or whatever, like kind of like the Pine phone. The Pine phone is very easy to take apart, right? If companies made stuff like that, so that if something did break, you could just replace it. Oh, mate, the controller board's bust. Oh, mate, that's 30 quid online. They could make a markup on whatever part it is that breaks, and you just take off these couple of screws, pop the back panel off, and in the new board. I think people would be more willing to pay for these products. I mean, I'd be more willing to go and buy a phone by a company that made something that I could pull apart and replace individual components on, or a TV that I could pull apart. I don't need mega thin, super fucking small bezels or invisible bezels or whatever. I would like to have a product that I know would last, that isn't going to end up being landfill, because that kind of sucks. If you can just take a product back and give me a new one and not repair it, or just say, yeah, just put it in a bin, here's another one. There are companies out there who will do it. You can break something and they will give you a new one. They don't even take the old one back. You put one in the bin, they give you Am I or am I the only one like that thinks that, hey, if a company says you can buy, oh mate, I hate the fact that one of my laptops has got RAM soldered to the board. When that fails, the laptop goes in the bin, because I can't replace that. I can't do that. You know, if you say, oh mate, there's 2 available slots in there, you can change the RAM in it. Or hey yo, the processor port, like in one of my laptops upstairs, you could take the proc out. RAM was replaceable. Screens are pretty simple to replace. Parts were readily available. That's why I like old business laptops, because you can get bits for them really easily, right? I'm sure people would be okay with just, I'm going to buy a new battery. I'm going to buy a new hard drive. I'll buy some new RAM. I'll buy a new whatever. And you just slot it on or whatever. But in this groove to make things thinner and more sleek and more whatever, it's hot shit. So I'm going off on a rant. I can't remember what the fuck I was talking about, but gone are the days when you could literally punt something down a flight of stairs and the company would do everything in their power to try and repair it. I haven't done that, but I remember a laptop of mine getting busted years ago, and the company that we got it from literally took it in. They lost one and they gave me a new one, but they eventually did repair. And like said, I've had a laptop get so mangled up, you could see where they had to press the case back together, right? They took the time and rebuilt that machine. It was insane. Are you getting tired of my story? It's a dog. Alright, cool. Would you buy a phone or a laptop if you could repair it? You haven't even got thumbs, you can't use a soldering... I'm sorry. It's very ableist of me, but... You can't even hold a soldering iron, dude. I know. So even he'd want a repairable whatever. Things with disposable, like just throw away a £300 pair of earbuds. Oh, I bet fucking can't change the battery in those yourself. In the bin it goes. This thing is glued to the board, soldered to the board, in the bin it goes. Stop it, please. There's no need for half of these products to go in the bin. They should make things more user repairable. I know it's not in a company's best interest to do so, but maybe if you did it in just the right kind of way, you could still make profit on parts, and you'd probably get more users because of the longevity of your products. The fact that you are willing to support them for more than just software updates or whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna head off. An alright day having the telly breaking. Watched a rad film with my wife about a dude and his dog. It's called Dog. A dude who got booted out of the army because of an injury, and his mate unfortunately passes away as a member of the Army Rangers. He was a dog handler. They wanted to get the dog to the funeral. He wants to get back into the army. They won't let him because of his injury. They want the dog to go to the funeral, but no one will fucking take the dog because it's a bit like, and he's tasked with taking the dog cross country to the thing. If he does this favour, they'll make the calls to get him back into the army, and hilarity ensues. It's an attack dog. It's considered a liability. He's considered a liability. They go on an adventure of happiness and fun times. But that was a neat film. That's my highlight. That's my day. I hope you're all well. And fuck mate, this is now 20 minutes long. I'll see you all with a bit of luck in the next one. When was it better just to throw something in a bin?